I am filthy filth. A disgusting illegitimate child born under a noble above all else. People always looked at me with contempt and gave me the back finger of scorn. A lowly, disgusting piece of filth under the sun. That was me. However, I had one such talent, and it was the very power of healing. Heal. Healing is a blessing bestowed by the heavens to those who are suffering from illness. Healers who could use heals received high treatment and enjoyed wealth and prosperity regardless of their status. As a filthy bastard, I struggled to survive, to be recognized as a decent being. But I was also a pathetic healer. Below grade F. That was my healing power. I tried so hard, but I could not overcome the barrier of my talent. I've been stuck in my apprentice status for 5 years, and now I play miscellaneous roles for other healers. A gruff guy. A dirty guy. A pathetic person. Those were the words that were used to describe me. But then, one day, a miracle happened to me. You've awakened as a player. Job surgeon. The miraculous ability of the medical art of the place called Earth was put into my body as an F-grade flunking healer. You've awakened as a player. Raymond thought the message was just a dream. Wasn't that obvious? A surgeon, not a healer? Sir. Gian? What the hell is that? Raymond chuckled. Not only that, but it was something he'd never heard before. It was the first time he had seen it. It was a gray, inorganic space. A patient? A patient was lying on a high bed in the middle of the room, bleeding profusely. Vitals? They're bleeding too badly. Get a blood transfusion there faster. Squeeze it with your hands. In that dream, Raymond was a healer, in a blue surgical suit, a doctor, and to his surprise, he understood the meaning of the terms people used. Vitals. Blood transfusion. Levofed. Even though they were all new terms. Double the amount of Levofed. Yes, sir. A new person appeared. He was a small man in a surgical gown, and the way he looked at the patient showed a strong will. 1, Kelly. In response to the man's words, the dreaming Raymond handed over the iron tools. Yes, Professor. It's right here. The man with the steel-like impression moved his iron tools. Clank, clank. The opening of the artery, which was bleeding profusely, was firmly identified, and the patient came back from the brink of death with a divine touch. Raymond was startled out of his dream. What was that? Was it an empty dream? It was too vivid a dream for that. Vital signs, blood transfusions, Kelly, etc., to name a few. All the concepts of the terms he heard for the first time in the dream were still vivid in his mind. That wasn't all. The contents of my dream. It was a splenectomy, operating on a patient with a ruptured spleen. Surgery. Splenectomy. Raymond thought of those terms. It's not some kind of pseudo. All the treatments on the continent of Leofantina, where Raymond lived, were done by healing. Surgery to open up the patient's abdomen to treat them? He had never heard of such a treatment. However, Raymond could feel it instinctively. He knew that the cure he saw in his dream was not a fake. In fact, it was a much better and more reliable treatment than the existing one. What the hell happened to me? That way he was confused. Something even more unbelievable happened. A message appeared in front of him. Congratulations on your awakening as a player. The player's occupation is Surgeon, Occupation Grade, SSS. Check out the status window. Status window? As he mumbled in his mind, the following message came to him. Player status. Name, Raymond. Class, Surgeon, SSS. Occupational grade, Novice Resident. Level 1. Experience, 0/50. Skill points, 0. Auxiliary occupations, not activated. Skills. Stamina, 3. Senses, 2. Intellect, 17. Attribute skills. Heart of Steel, D. Ancillary skills. None. The player's level is too low to use the Surgeon ability. Treat your patients and gain experience. The higher your level, the more infinite growth you will be able to achieve in the future. Raymond blinked as he looked at the message. He didn't know what happened to him, but one thing was clear. An unbelievable miracle had come to him. Belen Treatment Center. This was the clinic where Raymond was learning as an apprentice, and it was one of the most prestigious clinics in the kingdom's capital. However, the people in the clinic did not look at Raymond favorably at all. What is that pathetic bastard still doing here? Right. He doesn't even know what the theme is. How long does he plan to stay in the treatment center? Coming from a filthy illegitimate child background, the worst talent, not even in F grade, he was a miserable pathetic man despised by everyone. Shh. Be careful. What are you going to do if he hears that you're talking behind his back? So what? He's an illegitimate child anyway. Normally, Raymond would have given in to that snide remark, but not as much as he did today. Because he was distracted by other things. Suddenly, he heard a voice throwing a tantrum. Hey, Raymond. Chief Healer Lance is calling. Pardon? Oh, you're clumsy and slow. You were born short and now you've eaten your ear off. Hurry up and go. Raymond rushed to Chief Healer Lance's office. Welcome, Senior. A young-looking healer greeted him. Greetings to the Chief Healer. Raymond bowed down and greeted. It's been 5 years since you became an apprentice, right, Senior? Raymond's chest heaved. Yes, that's right. Today I formally spoke with the other healers. It seems that the Belen Healing Center is finding it difficult to take care of Senior any longer. I want you to quit your apprenticeship and leave the clinic, because with Senior's pathetic talent, becoming a healer seems like an eternal impossibility. Lance said coldly in a voice full of derision. I am revoking Senior's apprenticeship effective this date. Since you are not qualified to be a healer, please pack up and leave the clinic. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.
The young man does not understand what he should do now. Working as a healer is the most worthy job of all those that an illegitimate child can claim. If he leaves the hospital, he will never be able to claim the title of healer again. Suddenly, an information window appears in front of the hero which says that he can treat people with surgery. Then a great idea appears in Layman's head that there is an opportunity to stay in the hospital. The hero shouts to the main healer that he will prove that he can also heal people. He asks to entrust him with a patient whom he can cure. Surely his healing skills are below F rank, but with his knowledge of medicine in his head, he will be able to become a healer. Healer Langs does not believe his words. He thinks that the hero believes that treating patients is akin to a child's game. However, he says that they just have a patient who may be suitable for the hero. If he copes and successfully cures the patient, then he will not be kicked out of the clinic. After a while, the hero comes to Rankin Street. He squeezes the documents and moves to the house of his first patient, and he is also very nervous because he has never treated people before. He understands that if he fails, he will be kicked out of the hospital, which means that he will lose the chance to pass the exam for the title of a real healer. Otherwise, he will become a healer without a diploma who will not be recognized for the rest of his life, and then he will go to prison if someone reports his illegal work. Thus, there will be more vile rumors that he is an illegitimate child and even a convicted one. The hero's father will be dragged into these rumors again, saying that it is not known how much longer he will disgrace this great man. The door opens abruptly in front of the hero and he falls, scattering all the documents he has on the patient. A girl came out to him and asked who he was. But when she saw the healer's coat of arms on his scattered papers, she immediately ran to him with tears in her eyes. Suddenly, a woman came out of the house and the girl joyfully started shouting to her that a healer from the Belen Clinic had arrived. The woman can't believe her eyes that a healer has finally come to them. But the young man says that he is not a real healer. He is just a beginner. Then the woman replied that she doesn't care who he is because the main thing is to save her husband. At the clinic, they were told that they did not have enough funds to pay for expensive treatment, so she was refused and told that they would do nothing, and all she and her daughter could do now was watch her husband die. The hero examines the papers he has on the patient, and there it is indicated that he has a lesion of the gluteal zone. A man is sick with a serious illness called an abscess, which is a serious illness and a healer of at least B rank is needed to eliminate it. Of course, the poor family has nowhere to take money to pay for such a high-level healer, and now the man's family is forced to watch him die without the opportunity to help him. Here, the hero realizes that this situation is similar to his when he was still young. One day, he came to the clinic and asked for help. With all his might, he begged for it and said that he would earn not enough money because he only needed his mother to be cured. The cry of a little girl who asks to save her father pulls out of his thoughts. The hero pulls himself together and asks to show the patient. Suddenly, a system window appears in front which says that the hero decided to help the needy free of charge, so an additional bonus in the form of 5 skill points became available to him. The hero can get points from me by completing various tasks that the system will give, and he will be able to use these points to gain the skills necessary to treat patients. Suddenly, a golden system window appears which says about the beginning of a new task. The essence of it is that Layman must cure his first patient. The young man, after reading the last sentence, adjusts to the fact that now there will be a moment when he will be able to cure his first patient. And even if he came here so that he would not be kicked out of the clinic, but he must do everything he can to help the needy. The hero is sure that it is possible to cope because he has the necessary skills in the field of medicine to prevent serious diseases. Despite his lack of knowledge, he will be able to increase his experience by treating patients. If he treats patients, he will become an outstanding healer and gain the recognition of others. He approaches the patient who is bedridden and greets him. He suddenly feels a terrifying smell emanating from the man. Suddenly, the hero forgets what to do when meeting a patient, so he is very worried. Unexpectedly, the skill Steel Heart is activated, thanks to which the hero calms down. He asks the woman to show what is bothering the patient. She says that he has some kind of abscess on his buttocks, and instead of decreasing, it only increases every day. He also started to have a fever, and now he can't even get out of bed. The hero understands that he needs to act quickly, so first he checks his blood pressure, respiratory rate, and heart rate. Fortunately, sepsis, that is a purulent infection, has not yet begun, but we need to hurry because if the hero tries, then the patient can be saved. He says that now he needs to examine the painful place, then the woman turns her husband over and the hero sees the abscess. Using healing for such a case is extremely troublesome, but from a medical point of view, it is the most common disease. The woman asks the hero if it is possible to cure her husband because the clinic said that only a high-ranking healer can cope with such a disease. But Layman says that it is possible to cure the patient. He asks for help from a woman. He needs to boil water and then cool it down well. He also asks to prepare a sharp knife, and this phrase scares the woman very much. After the hero said that he still needed to be treated with fire, the woman asked how he was going to treat the patient. The young man replies that he is going to perform surgery. All preparations are completed and the hero is going to cut the tumor. Here the woman, frightened for her husband, grabs the young man by the hand because she does not understand why he is going to cut him. The young man replies that he is going to cure him. The woman does not understand why because healers should use healing. Layman says he will definitely save the man. He just needs to be trusted and he will be able to laugh with their daughter again. The woman lets go of the hero's hand and begins to pray. He is sure that he should not make a mistake. The hero recalls the operation where he was with a cold head but a passionate heart. In general medical knowledge, this is the way of thinking that a real surgeon should have. With the knowledge in the field of surgery that the hero has, the operation to remove the abscess is so simple that it is difficult to name both it and the operation. He carefully brings the knife and begins to cut the painful place, letting the pus flow out. He begins to write. The girl who is standing next to him screams, worrying about her father. Layman tries to collect his thoughts using his knowledge. First, he used a clean cloth to remove the leaking pus, and then he washed the abscess with boiled sterile water and removed the remaining pus. He also uses a knife to cut off all the dead tissue from the man's body. The operation is finally completed. The part with pus has been removed. The operation is completed by treating the wound, and then Layman uses a potion made from herbs and has natural antibiotic properties. Everything is complete. The woman approaches and asks if everything went well, to which the young man replies that everything ended well, and he asks to look after the patient. After a while, the man opens his eyes. The hero undertakes to check his temperature, and she is completely asleep. The woman thanks the hero but does not know how to express her gratitude even more. Layman replies that he just did what he had to. However, according to the woman, he was the only one who agreed to help. She says that she has been to many clinics. But all the healers said that her family's money would not even be enough to look at the patient, and thanks to the hero, she did not lose her husband and now her family is saved. Suddenly the girl runs to the young man and hugs him. Then he realizes that no one has ever said words of gratitude to him. It must be that the feeling he is experiencing now is joy after treating the patient. A few hours later, the hero stands in the office of the chief healer Langs and tells him that he was able to cure the patient. However, the healer does not believe him because an abscess is not a disease that can be cured by someone who is not even a B-rank healer. Healing is not an omnipotent force that cures all kinds of diseases just by putting your hand on the patient. In Liapontine, healing only increases vital energy, and vital energy gives several useful healing effects against some diseases, but it is completely useless against most of them. For purulent inflammation, which was treated by the hero, the healing force was no good and it would not have helped the patient in any way because no matter how much you increase the effectiveness, healing will be completely useless if pus is not removed inside the abscess and not only in the pus business. There will be too many problems with the Lapentine style of treatment. They don't even use this method properly because of their excessive dependence on healing. Lang says that he will go to find out everything personally. And if the hero lied, then he should be ready to pay for the lie. Calming himself, the young man was not afraid because he had done nothing wrong. Suddenly, a notification box appears in front of him indicating that he has completed the task and received ords, as well as his level has been raised and he has earned 10 skill points. Increasing the level occurs by gaining the required number of experience points. Thus, the hero increases his level, and as he increases, he can increase his characteristics. Once he reaches level 40, he will be able to raise his rank. The rank of the hero increases as the level increases, and from a novice resident, he can rise to a trained resident. Based on this, so far, the hero is a resident, but in the future, he will raise the level and become a specialist and then a professor. He understands that he will be able to level up in this way, and then he gets additional performance points for each new level. Layman reads about additional characteristics that he can study. For example, endurance is an ability that includes general physical characteristics such as agility, muscle mass, and so on. Then endurance will be extremely useful in the treatment of patients, and there is also perception here. Perception is an ability that allows you to cunningly control the physical body. And the more sensitive the hero is, the more smoothly he will be able to perform delicate movements when treating a patient. Intelligence is used to allow the hero to rationally use the available knowledge. There is also an additional characteristic, the name of which is hidden by question marks, and it will be available after certain requirements are met. Suddenly, Langs burst into the room. He had already managed to check on a patient who had recently been treated by Layman, but the healer decided that it was not the hero himself who cured him. Apparently, the patient was cured on his own. However, a promise is a promise, and the man agrees to give the hero a chance. After a while, they come to the medical aid station. Lang says he gives the hero 15 days to prove himself at this point, but this time he will not be able to count on his luck. To raise the level, Layman needs to take care of patients, so it's good that he came here since this is the closest place to the emergency department where he could apply his medical knowledge. However, there is one problem, which is that all the healers around him hate him. Everyone blamed him for having healing abilities below F rank, so no one wanted such an inept healer to walk around the medical aid station. Layman understands that in this place, he will not be given the opportunity to take care of the sick. But if he does not cure anyone in these 15 days, then the training in the hospital will be over, so the young man understands that he must do something. Next patient. Instead of waiting for the apple to fall from the tree, he discovers a guy named Hansen who was a student at the hospital. About such students, they usually say neither fish nor meat. The hero approaches the young man and asks if he is tired. Next to the hero, Hansen was just as uncomfortable as next to others, but at least he is the kindest among the students at the first aid station. Layman turns to him and says that it seems to him that the young man is very busy, so he asks for permission to do cleaning at the emergency room. He doesn't like hanging around while Hansen is working. The hero says that he will take care of patients if there are no healers nearby. For example, he will bandage them or apply medicinal herbs to them. Hansen understands that the older comrades will be angry if they find out that he allowed Layman to treat patients. However, the hero says that healers sit in their offices most of the time and come out only when new patients arrive, but now there will be no patients, so no one will know. Hansen doesn't want to agree, so the hero gets upset and asks to pretend that nothing happened. Cleaning the point is the most difficult, so if there is no such obligation on your shoulders, then it will be much easier to work. Still, Hansen agrees. While the senior healer was not seen, Layman was treating people, increasing his experience. Since the tasks were very simple, the hero received only 1 experience point each, but he does not get upset. It's been 3 days since he started working at the first aid station and has already reached level 4. Layman decides to spend his extra points on perception because the faster his senses are, the more good a surgeon he will become. He believes that if he continues to accumulate experience, one day he will become the best healer in the world and will bathe in luxury. The hero dreams of living in a 5-story mansion with marble floors and eating juicy steaks, as well as drinking the highest quality wine before going to bed. He will never again find himself in a deplorable situation due to lack of money, nor will he tolerate treatment worse than the lowest of the servants. Despite the fact that he was born into a noble family, he always had to hide in corners, living in the most luxurious place, and only have the opportunity to envy others. One of his regular patients was an elderly woman. She said that the hero is very handsome and kind, and also said that she has seen many healers in her lifetime, but the hero is the sweetest of all those she has seen. Lamont says that, of course, he should be nice because it's so upsetting when you're sick and they treat you badly. He experienced it when his mom was sick. The woman says that she was once treated by a healer, and it seems his name was Langs. He was skilled, but with this terrible evil so much that the woman's well-being deteriorated again. When she left, an information window appeared in front of the hero which informs that he was very nice to the patient, so he received the achievement Good Healer, and also his reputation was increased. He also received 5 skill points as a reward. These glasses are needed to obtain and improve the skills of a surgeon. Finally, the working day is over and now there is only cleaning left. The hero had no desire to do this, but he promised Hansen. Lament even wondered if he should make an effort at all if no one was watching this place. In Liechtenstein, they don't pay too much attention to cleanliness, so it doesn't look like Hansen tried so hard to keep order. However, slapping himself on the cheek, the hero puts his thoughts in order because dirt harms patients, and frequency is the basic rule, so he must endure even if it's hard and finally get out. He motivates himself with what he needs just to imagine his future luxurious life to cheer up, namely beefsteaks every day. Finally, everything was tidied up. The heroes decide that when he becomes successful in the future, he will definitely hire cleaners because now his whole body hurts, and he even thought to increase his stamina. A system window popped up which stated that the hero had cleaned up at first aid station and also received an achievement, an improvement, 10 skill points, and bonus points for excellent work. Now he has access to the purchase of skills in the store where a special offer is valid for the first purchase. For 40 points, he can buy a skill of a unique rank. He is given a choice of 3 skills: Iron Man Strength, Dexterous Hands, and Sage Thighs. The hero wants to choose everything, but you can only choose one. Suddenly, healers burst into the emergency room. An emergency case was received where the patient vomited blood. Layman understands that if he vomits blood, then it is very bad and a healer of at least a rank is needed here. Healing is a force that stimulates vital energy, and stimulation of vital energy activates coagulation, but in situations where bleeding is abundant, the effectiveness of such an action decreases. At the Ballon Clinic, only Director Bucks has a rank skills. There are also several B ranks here, but at this rate, the patient will die. There is a technique for performing surgery on such patients, but Layman cannot perform it because he is only a novice resident, so here you need the title of an experienced resident. Here, the main healer, Langs, comes to the patient who examines him. Director Bex is currently out of town to cure a nobleman. The patient started vomiting blood again, and by chance, drops of blood fell on Lang's hand. He says with disgust that he can't do anything, so the patients must be sent back. After hearing this, the hero wants to try to save him. The healer says that healing is useless here, but Layman still tries to persuade him to let him try. Langs replies that since the hero is so worried about this person, why not try to cure him on his own? However, the probability of failure is too high. And if something happens to the patient, the hero will be blamed and he will also be expelled from the clinic. A system window appears that informs that an unforeseen quest has begun, the essence of which is to become a caring healer and cure the patient with the help of willpower, despite the low level of skill. So far, the hero has held on with all his hands and feet, so if something goes wrong, then everything will be over for him. He looks at a patient who, dying, asks for help. Layman can't do anything because it's not in his power, but if no one helps, then the man will just die. The hero understands that he needs to think rationally. That is, even if he tries, nothing will come out, so it would be wiser to just continue to take care of less seriously ill people and in the future find another opportunity to gain experience. Suddenly, the steel heart skill is activated and Layman begins to possess steel determination and a firm will. He recalls the Hippocratic Oath, which states that the swearing asks to be allowed to practice medicine and solemnly swears to devote his life to the service of humanity. Even if it is akin to the impossible, he cannot abandon a dying person. Layman asks to be allowed to try to cure this patient. Langs is sure that the hero just went crazy, but still allows him. However, he clarifies so that the hero does not forget to take responsibility for the result later. Other healers leave and the hero remains alone. He is not sure that he will be able to cope alone because it is quite difficult to carry out the operation alone. When suddenly Hansen calls out to him, who offers the young man his help because he also wants this man not to die. The hero feels relieved because now he has an assistant, so he thanks Hansen for his support and help. The The situation is urgent, so there is no time to explain. Layman tells his assistant that you need to prepare a knife boiled in sterile clean water to begin with and then treat it with fire. He also needs a thin thread and disinfect it with medicinal herbs. Hansen doesn't understand why all these things are needed. With the help of a hallucinogen, the hero put the patient to sleep and anesthetized him. Fortunately, he also prepared catgut, that is, a natural absorbable surgical suture material. Blamond had prepared it in advance just in case because it was easy to get since it is used by magicians from the wizard tower. First, you need to disinfect the place on the body where the surgery will be performed. Here the young man begins to cut his skin tissue with a knife, and this scares Hansen very much. Heroes see fat and muscles covered in blood. He knew how to open the abdominal cavity from the knowledge he had gained. However, it was terrible to see it with his own eyes, and as a result, the young man's head empties. The hero begins to shake, but suddenly the skill steel heart is activated, which allows the young man to become more adamant. Layman thinks about wealth, male, and calms down. He just needs to follow the knowledge of surgery. He must perform a median laparotomy. That is a method of surgical intervention by dissecting the tissues in the area of the anterior abdominal wall. Hansen is just terrified because he doesn't understand what the heroes are doing to the patient and should he stop him. However, he sees the confident look of the hero and does not risk stopping him. Yellow fluid oozes from the duodenum. This is a perforated ulcer, so it is necessary to bind the artery and block the hole. A perforated ulcer is a through defect in the wall of the stomach and duodenum, as in this case with access to the abdominal cavity or retroperitoneal space. Here, the hero asks Hansen to lift one red organ. The young man is surprised but still helps the hero. Now you need to cut out the perforation area with a scalpel. The hands of the young man do not obey at all. And at this rate, the operation will end very badly, so the hero decides to buy the skill-dexterous hands of the surgeon. Good stamina and intelligence are undoubtedly important, but more importantly, they are able to save the patient. He uses the skill and his perception increases from 6 to 16 and the fingertips become more substantial. Of course, it's still a little unusual, but the hero moves gracefully really and the feeling that he lacks something. He asks Hansen for a threat because first he needs to tie the artery and stop the bleeding. Now you need to close the hole in the duodenum. Then you need to take the tongue of the momentum of a suitable size and block the perforation of the intestine with it, applying nodal sutures. And finally, it remains only to check the vagus nerve, which is associated with the secretion of gastric acid, and also remove the spread gastric juice with clean water, and finally, do not sew it up. The operation is over. The hero got his first experience in abdominal surgery. He received the achievement of the father surgeon, that is, the discoverer of surgery for future generations. The hero also received a lot of skill points and a bonus to level up. Suddenly his legs give way and he falls and tears begin to flow from his eyes. Finally he did it, cured the patient. After a while, the chief healer learns that Layman did a good job and cured a patient who vomited blood. He couldn't believe his ears because it's impossible, so he decides to make sure of everything personally. Legs give way and he falls and tears begin to flow from his eyes. Finally he did it, cured the patient. After a while, the chief healer learns that Layman did a good job and cured a patient who vomited blood. He couldn't believe his ears because it's impossible, so he decides to make sure of everything personally. Langs believes that there is no way the hero can heal patients with blood vomiting and his abilities are below F rank. He bursts into the room and sees how the patient is having fun and sweetly communicating with his healer. The man thanks the main character for the rescue. The young man answers him that he should not forget about caution. Langs comes into the room and asks who cured the patient, or perhaps Director Bucks did it at all. The healer still does not believe him because he thinks that he is lying since he does not reach the F rank, so how could he cure a sick person here? The young man replies that he did not use healing. However, he understands that the truth cannot be told. He invents a legend that he treats patients with the help of medical techniques that were used in ancient times. Yes, it was for such a case that the hero came up with a story. Layman says that some time ago when he was running errands in the northern region he lost his balance and fell off a cliff unexpectedly for himself and then wandered into the ancient ruins and there was able to comprehend the ancient method of healing, which is called medical techniques. Langs doesn't believe him. Suddenly the patient gets out of bed and says that it's too noisy here. He calls the main healer and lifts up his shirt and then asks to see him, which has proof that it was the main character who saved him. There was a huge seam on his stomach, by the way. The man adds that he remembered the main healer because it was he who asked people to leave him to die. The main healer did not help himself, and now he is trying to denigrate either the healer who pulled the man out of the other world. He takes a chamber pot and throws it right at the main healer, dousing him from head to toe. The patient is very angry. He shouts at him, insulting him, and asks him to get out of here right now. The main healer runs away. The patient apologizes to the main character for soiling the room. However, the young man replies that, thanks to him, he feels better. At this time, Langs is trying to understand the words of the young man, namely that he was talking about some secret ancient techniques. People started discussing the main character, saying that he was lucky to stop the bleeding. The hero knew that people's opinion about him would not change just because he cured one patient. Here, Hansen turns to the hero. The young man does not say anything and takes away Lamon's mop. That from now on, he will be engaged in cleaning because this is his job. It seemed to the hero that Hansen looked at him differently. Behind the wall was Langs, who looked at the hero quite differently. His gaze started from mocking to a complete desire to kill. In the past, when people behaved this way towards heroes, he didn't know what to do, but now he doesn't care. Everyone should keep watching. And when he eventually becomes the best healer, then everyone will dance with him. Here the main healer Langs. The hero sneaks up from behind and talks about his skills. He offers him to go to the birthday festival at the royal palace as an invited healer. This shocks the hero. The festival is organized in honor of the birthday. This banquet is also dedicated to the birthday of the very first king, a grandiose festival at which all the capital's nobility gather. It is so large-scale that there are not enough healers at the royal palace because each clinic sends its own people there. Being sent to the festival at the royal palace means that your abilities have been recognized, and it is a great honor for any healer. However, the hero does not like it. The chief healer, Lang, says that Lamond is still a student and only the really hopeful gets such a chance. And the hero cured a patient who vomited blood, so he definitely deserved the right to participate. The hero believes that Langs does not give them the opportunity but just wants to set them up because for the hero, the royal palace is hell. The fact is that he has 3 stepbrothers who constantly bullied him. That time was like hell. If we compare life in the palace and life in the clinic, then the latter will definitely seem like paradise because it was because of the hero that his father's dignity was tarnished. He was a hidden prince. The Kingdom of Houston is a country where chivalry and nobility prevail, so it does not recognize illegitimate children. The hero, the only mistake that the king of a great country once made. Therefore, he is bad because he should not exist, because he defames the name of his royal majesty. The heroes decide to clarify whether it is really necessary to send him to the festival. Lang says that if he does not like it, then let him not go. Only the hero should not forget that the completion of his training is in the hands of the main healer. Layman really wants to hit him, but he can't do it. Suddenly, an information window appears in front of him with a new task, which is called the Guardian of the Banquet. The essence of this task is that a large number of people gather at the banquet, and it is unknown what kind of emergency situation may occur. The task of the hero, as a healer, is to make the banquet without victims. The hero notices that the reward for this task is very great. However, he is worried about the high complexity because, most likely, some very serious urgent incident or something is going to happen. Layman agrees to go. He asks Langs to promise that he will give him permission to take an official qualified exam for a healer at the end of the banquet. Even if everyone present at the clinic behaves ridiculously unfairly, the only reason why the hero still remains at the Bellin clinic is the desire to take the qualification exam for a healer. He can't go to the palace without asking for something in return. A few days later came the royal festival. 5 years ago, the hero left the royal palace and here he is again. He's thinking about going back to the Bellanda clinic. He doesn't understand how he can help an urgent patient at all when his healing powers are below F rank. There will be a lot of skilled healers at the banquet. However, if healing is useless for this person, then he may die. The young man understands that he should not avoid the palace because he has done nothing wrong. He didn't want to be born out of wedlock, so it's the fault of his father, the king, and the hero is just a victim. As a result, an information window appears again, which says that the hero decided to look fear in the eye, so Steelheart reacted to his concern. He calms down. Lamond understands that he should not be discouraged because who knows, he may be able to save a high-ranking nobleman and he will receive a generous reward. However, before entering the castle, the hero must acquire useful skills. He looks at the profile menu, which states that for skill points, he can acquire any skill he wants. However, due to his low F rank class, there are some restrictions, so the skills available for purchase are divided into 2 groups, attribute skills, which can be purchased 5 pieces, and passive skills, which can be purchased 3 pieces. The hero decides to look at the attribute skills available for purchase, and he sees several types of basic magic, which means he can learn magic for points. He decides to buy a skill called the Method of Dealing with Jerks because there are a lot of them among the noble people. After a while, the banquet begins. People raise their glasses to His Royal Majesty, to the king, because no one can compare with the greatness of His Majesty. Thanks to this man, the Kingdom of Houston has become so developed. He was an outstanding knight and military commander as well as a politician who thinks about his people. He was a monarch who listened to the nobility and no one dared to mock the king. That's why all the people spoke badly about the hero, because if it wasn't for him, the king would have been just perfect. The banquet also discussed the main character, calling him the hidden prince who left the castle 5 years ago. There was a lot of gossip about him, but right now he was standing in a group of healers. Suddenly one of the people notices a young man in the corner who looked like a hidden prince. The hero rejoices in his steel heart because before he would have been simply discouraged catching such glances on himself, but today he does not care about anything. He thinks that today he shines like never before. Suddenly, the hero notices Princess Sophia. The girl had a look as if she was looking at a mistake that has not been fixed yet. However, if you compare this girl with the main princess, then she is just a dissatisfied teenage girl. She did not mock the hero because she simply did not have the strength to do so because, like the first queen, her health was not good. Even now, her complexion is still pale, so the hero thinks that she is still not cured. Suddenly, he hears a voice from the side. A red-haired young man, who was the fourth prince named Saddle, approaches him. As a child, the young man often beat the main character. And after this cruel childhood, his scars on his body still have not healed. He still can't move like a mouse in front of a snake. Saddle is very angry because Layman dares to ignore him. The hero was very scared at the sight of his brother. The steel hard skill is reactivated and he is no longer afraid of anything because his will is firm again. Saddle is designated as an extremely high complexity jerk. The skill method of dealing with jerks is activated. Suddenly, the hero makes a bow and greets the great fourth prince of the Houston Kingdom. The young man is surprised because the main character does not look scared, although he used to be so afraid that he could not say a word. Lament is trying to somehow play this situation by asking what brought the fourth prince here because this is a zone for healers and if he came here, it means he feels bad. Saddle doesn't understand what's wrong with the hero. He says he feels fine. The hero tries to send off the fourth prince as he feels well, so he sends him to the other side where the banquet is located. Suddenly, he sees a man who is crouched down and tries to help him, ignoring the fourth prince. The hero again turns to Saddle, hinting that he would leave faster. Saddle tries to humiliate the hero somehow, saying that he really feels bad, so he is in the zone for healers. He says that he has been feeling tired lately and he has no strength at all. Since healers believe that such big symptoms are the most difficult to deal with, he decides to check how the hero copes. The young man, after examining the fourth prince, concludes that he is suffering from alcohol poisoning. It turns out that the fourth prince drank every day. Excessive amounts of alcohol can cause a functional disorder of the body. Therefore, most likely, this is the cause of fatigue, His Highness, the fourth prince. The hero advises him to refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages and have a good rest. Saddle gets upset and leaves in a bad mood.